What's the next step after you've done all of your research and preparation for understanding what you're going to say during your presentation? Outline. An outline is going to help you prepare for your presentation to understand the best way to connect your ideas together. It's going to help you organize your ideas into the most coherent stream of thoughts and concepts and support for your presentation. And lastly, it's going to help you visualize something really, really important. It's going to help you visualize your breadth of coverage and your depth of coverage. What do I mean? Well, we visualize breadth in an outline. In other words, how much content are you covering? How much variety of content are you covering by entering in an outline? So you would have one big idea and another big idea after you've entered on the outline. This helps you know the breadth of coverage that you have on your topic. We can visualize depth of content by indenting in our outline. Here we have a big idea that we have some depth about because we've indented on the next line. When we add this together, we can see both our breadth and our depth. So we can begin to see as our page fills up, we can see how much we're covering, and we can see the amount of depth we're going into with that content. So, an outline, not only does it help you prepare and stay organized, but it helps you visualize the spaces in your presentation as if they were a physical space that you could explore. When you see an outline with no indentation, you know there's not much depth here. We're talking about a lot of things, but we're not really going into detail. The same is true when you have a very short outline with a lot of the page filled towards the margin. Okay, we go into a lot of depth, but really only about one thing. So, there are a couple of principles that can help you stay organized, prepare, and visualize for your outline. The first principle is this: that your symbols should be consistent. We call this the symbol principle. This is a way of helping you stay organized. Take a look at this symbol structure over here. I've indented and I've entered so I can see some depth and I can see some breadth. But the symbols are inconsistent. And over time, this is going to start to confuse me because is Roman numeral 2 here a continuation of A? Or what, is there a Roman numeral 1 somewhere that I've missed? My inconsistent symbol usage is going to start to throw me off when I start to prepare for my presentation. Compare that with this. The symbol usage is consistent. The conformity of the symbols helps me stay organized. And it's very easy to follow. So, the first principle, keep your symbols consistent. The second principle is the sentence principle. Each line in your outline, in the body of your speech, should be one complete sentence. No more, no less. Each line in your outline should be just one complete sentence. Whether it's a main point or a sub point, those should all be just one complete sentence. So, after the period on the line that you've just written, ask yourself, does this idea need more explaining, more depth? If it needs more depth, hit enter and indent, right? Because indenting is how we show depth. So if more detail is needed, if more depth is needed, go to the next line and hit indent. If not, if you've given enough of an explanation, enough detail for that line, just go to the next line. If it's a continuation of what you've been talking about, then you're fine. If not, if it's a new idea, you might have to go back a tab to a bigger point. The third principle is the A-B principle. The A-B principle is this. If you have an A, then you must have a B. Now you can exchange any of the symbols that you want for A and B. It could be Roman numerals, could be numbers, it doesn't matter. If you have an A, you must have a B. Here's why. This develops the depth of your content, but it also helps you work towards being concise in your language. You have such a short amount of time in your presentation to communicate your ideas. And if you spend your time repeating what you've already said, well, you're running out of time to focus on the other things that are important. So, if you have an A, you must have a B. Let's take a look. I've got a Roman numeral 1 here that says, first let's start with the history of the insulated thermos. And I've got an A here to demonstrate some depth. The insulated thermos was invented in 1918 by German inventor Hans Yoder. I don't have a B though, I jump straight to my next main point. Let's talk about the uses of the insulated thermos. So, let's ask ourselves a couple of questions about this, because this violates the A-B principle. What is this information here? If there's no more depth to add, if this truly is as much detail about the history of the insulated thermos as I want to include, then I should just combine it with my main point here. That way, I can be concise. I could say, instead of let's start with the history of the insulated thermos, I could say something like, the history of the insulated thermos begins and ends in 1918 with German inventor Hans Yoder. That's combined these two things, and now I just have one line. I've been concise. I haven't taken more time to rephrase or restate something that isn't of great importance. If this is all the depth that I have, then I really ought to find a way to combine it with the line above it. But there's almost always more depth. More often than not, we have just stopped short. We have found one thing and we've stopped. We haven't considered what else there is in this space. So don't stop at the bare minimum. How did Hans Yoder invent the insulated thermos? Who else was working on the insulated thermos? Where was he when he discovered this important invention? Go into more depth. There's something else there, I guarantee it. So, the 3 principles for outlining that I encourage you to follow. The symbol principle, be consistent. The sentence principle, every line should be one complete sentence. And the A-B principle, if you have an A, you must have a B. If you follow these 3 principles, you're going to better prepare, better organize, and better visualize the content of your presentation.